Now, when Adam was in the Garden of Eden, he didn't really struggle. I mean, God had created the Garden of Eden. Everything was there. All the animals, all the fruits were there. Adam only had to eat what he wanted. He wanted to eat, get whatever he wanted to get. Eve was added to him. So it was a perfect place. I mean, now, when Adam went against God by disobeying him and eating from the fruit of knowledge and wisdom, God placed a curse on Adam. And in that case, he told him that you will till the land to feed yourself. And this was somebody who was feeding without even any struggle. He didn't have to do anything to eat. Food was there. Food was automatic. Now, Adam had to till the land. He had to do everything by himself just to feed. And it was so much. It's the same thing. Now, when we look at Jesus, when we look at his walk here on earth, right up to the time he was supposed to die to fulfill the main reason why he has been sent here on earth, Jesus started interceding and trying to change what God has preordained for his life. Now, until the time he went in prayer and said, Lord, let your will be done. He said, let the cup pass over me. But nevertheless, not my will. Let your will be done. When he said, let your will be done, then the doors were opened. You see, there are a lot of ways you can resist God from doing what he has foreordained and what he has written about your life and your destiny here. Now, every human being you see on the face of this planet is here for a reason, is here on a mission. Every human being you see on this earth is here for a specific purpose. It doesn't matter how old you are. If you still want to fulfill that thing, that one thing God put you here to do, you can still do it. Many don't. Many don't. There are a lot of people who don't walk the walk. There are a lot of people who die and get to heaven and realize, God, I was supposed to do all of this. I couldn't do even one of it. Yes, it's because the world is teaching us differently. The world is telling you it's all about you, it's about your will, it's about what you want to do, it's about what you want to see, it's about who you want to marry. The world is something else. It's not. You see, God is the one who created everything. And even he told Jeremiah that before you were formed in your mother's womb, I knew you. What does that mean? Before you were formed in your... Do you understand what it means? Before even Jeremiah's father and mother came together, God already knew Jeremiah's name. He knew his mission. He knew his purpose. He knew the day he was going to die. He knew how Jeremiah was going to die. He knew what Jeremiah was going to go through. That is dangerous. And that is the God we serve. And see, a lot of things are being said, and the world we are in tries to dull down that thing. That, you see, the world we are in tries to paint off that power and some of these things that God does. So a lot of the world system will make sure you don't even read your Bible. I mean, they'll make sure, and everything around you is designed to make sure you don't have time for God. That is it. He said, Jeremiah, I knew you before you were formed in your mother's womb. What does that mean? You see, a lot of people don't ask themselves this question. How is that possible? How can you know somebody before they were even formed in their mother's womb? It means Jeremiah, before he appeared here on earth, already existed somewhere. It's the same. I mean, everybody is here for a reason, for a mission, for a particular purpose. For a particular purpose. What stops it is that a lot of people try to fight it because a lot of us are thinking the way of the world. The world will tell you can do this, it's about you, it's about this, it's about you. What you want is what will happen. It's not true. Everybody is on a mission, and everybody is on a journey. Everybody you see here on this earth has a particular purpose, has a particular thing to complete and accomplish here. Many don't get into it. A lot of us come here and we adopt and pick the mindset and the thinking of the world that tells it's about me, it's about what I do, it's about how I do it. It's not true. You see, the only way you can align in that mission, that purpose, and the only way you can fall in line is by going back to the God. It's by going back to the one who sent you first of all on this mission. And as I've said in our Jesus, you kept interrupting. A lot of us keep interrupting. A lot of us keep interrupting by the kind of things we say, by how we think, by how we act. A lot of us, we keep interrupting. Look, until you come to him and say, Lord, let your will for my life be done. There are certain things you will never see it till you die and leave this place. You have to give him the room. You have to give him the space. You have to hand over so that he does what he has already written in your book up there in heaven. In heaven, books, a lot of books will be opened. There are a lot of books. And any person that comes here on earth, there's a special book about you that tells who you are, your name, what you are, the parents you'll be born to, where you start from, your wife, your children, what will happen at age 30, at age 40, what will happen, how you leave this earth, how you are going to die. There's a book about you that is already written, it's already a prophecy about whatever you are supposed to do here on earth. And so your angels that are assigned to you, they keep watching. And if you allow yourself, they'll start implementing and bringing to pass some of these milestones, some of these landmarks in that book. And many of us fight against it. God is a God of free will. So he will create someone like Lucifer who has free will to choose to whether you serve God or whether he will bring an army, whether you try to overtake him. That is the God we serve. And because we are created in his image and likeness, he gave us that free will to choose. To choose to serve him or to choose to serve whatever we want. Free will. To choose to do what he wants or to choose to do what you want. Now, when you choose what you want, you fall under the curse of Adam. When you choose what you want, he takes his hands off and you do everything on your own, by yourself. You defend yourself, you protect yourself, you feed yourself, you do everything by yourself. And he will not be there because you have chosen your own way. You have chosen your own way. The same thing we saw in Genesis. The same thing is playing in a lot of people's lives. The same thing is playing. The same thing has been playing in families. The same thing has been playing for generations in families. When you choose your own way, forget about him. Forget about his hand. Forget about his provision, his protection. Forget about it. It's the same thing you saw there in the book of Genesis. Adam was in the garden. Everything was in the garden. Adam didn't have to water the plants. They worked automatically. In the Garden of Eden, a lot of things were automated. Why? They were automated so that Adam would have comfort. Adam in the Garden of Eden was more spiritual. Because God is a spirit. To speak to him, to hear him, you have to be in the spirit. So in the Garden of Eden and in Genesis, the Bible tells you God came down in the cool of the day to speak to Adam. When he lost it, it was something else. God does not come in physical flesh to talk to Adam. He comes in the spirit. So he lost the spirit too. He lost the spiritual connection, that highway, information superhighway, that bandwidth to connect with the heavenlies. He lost it. So now he was without ideas. Now he was not without innovation. Now he didn't know. He had to use his own mind. He had to use the earthly level of information. I'm telling you, look, the heavenly wisdom, the heavenly knowledge is far higher than what we are. It's far higher than what we are doing here on earth. I'm doing things here on earth takes a long time. If you are using the heavenly wisdom, things move very fast. Look how God created He created this whole world in just 6 days. That's powerful. Do you know what it would take if everything has to be scrapped off this earth and we tell men to build this earth? Do you know how many years it will take to build this earth into what it was? It's something else. When you take your own way, you are telling God, I don't want your provision. I don't want your protection. I don't want your guidance. That is what is happening. And many are fighting against what God has said He's going to do for their lives. You are fighting it. You are here on a mission. You are here on a journey. There is something you are supposed to achieve here on earth. God is waiting for the time you return to Him so that He will do what He has to do. You are not the one who's going to do it. The idea is not your idea. If the idea is not your idea, you can never implement it. You can never bring it to pass. The idea is not your idea. You can never manifest it. It's not your idea. It's God's idea. You cannot do it without Him because you don't know what it even is. Many are caught up in the rat race. We are going over and over. It's the same thing, repetitive. And it's not going anywhere. It's going forward, but still standing in the same place. You're not going anywhere. The only way you correct it is come to God and say, Lord, let your will for my life, let it come to pass. Let your will be done. That's what Jesus did. He said, Father, let not my will, but let your will be done. When he said that, then, and only then, he took his hands off to allow God to do what he wanted to do all along when God sent him, when he was a kid, when he was in the temple debating with the rabbis and all that. Finally, he took his hands off and God brought to pass what he had said he would bring to pass. And mind you, this is Jesus Christ. This is not a human being. This is Jesus, somebody who is from heaven. He has power. He has a lot of authority, and even on the earth, healing the sick, raising the dead. Jesus has done all of these things. But you see, when it comes to allowing God to do your will, do his will in your life, sometimes there's a lot of struggle. And Jesus struggled with it. He knew it. This is it. I'm here to die, to save these people, and I'll be given a crown of glory when I go back to heaven. He knew it. But when the time was up, he was interfering. Then finally, he decided to give up and then let God do what God said he would do. And many of us are struggling with it. Many of us are fighting it. It doesn't matter how anointed you are. Jesus was anointed. He had power. He demonstrated the power nobody has performed here on earth. If they have, it's very few, handful of people. And it's even not to that level of how he demonstrated it. At Jesus, when it was time, when the time has come, finally, when it was time to fulfill, when it was time to take his hands off for God to do what he said he is going to do, Jesus was interrupting with it. So he finally decided, let your will come to pass in my life. And today I'm telling you, if you come to that place, if you come to Jesus and say, Lord, let your will be done in my life, and you allow yourself, you release yourself, you take your hands off, everything he has said about your life, he is going to bring it to pass. You are not the one going to bring it to pass because you don't even know how it's going to come to pass. So it's time to take your hands off and let God do what God said He is going to do. That's a little I have to share with you. This is what I've been asked to share, and so that's what I'm doing. Please subscribe to the channel, like the videos to help other people discover, to help spread the word to somebody else who probably might be in need of this very timely message to save their lives. You can also share to somebody and share to people who you feel and you are led to send it to, because it's going to be a great blessing. Thank you once again. This is still Christ Without Borders, always sharing it just the way He's laying it in my heart.